Welcome back. This is Dr. Kaan and dropping a new video here on will my ACL heal once it's torn. Before I get further into that, if you guys have been following along, seeing our videos, finding value here, please subscribe to the channel, like the video. If you got questions, comments, drop them below. We get to basically every single one. And more importantly, share with a fellow ACLer that can benefit from these tips and education. We put out a weekly video here on our page. You can also find us on Instagram, ACL_Academy, as well as on Facebook there. So big question, will my ACL heal? And the short answer is most likely not. And the reason being is blood flow is just not great to this area. So really, if you have a tear there, majority of these cases, if you're going back to a specific sport or high-level sport that requires a lot of cutting, pivoting, change of direction, and things like that, with a demand there, you're going to most likely get it reconstructed. And that means not repaired. So they're not going to take the original ACL and, sew it back or put it back on the bone. In most of these cases, they're not doing repairs. They're doing a reconstruction. The difference between repair and reconstruction: repair is actually using your ACL and sewing it together or sewing it to the bones. And there are orthopedic surgeries like that because the ACL does not get really great blood supply to that area. Usually, in most cases, this does not work. We do a reconstruction, right? An ACL reconstruction means they take something else and they replace it. So that's the difference between repair and reconstruction. Most cases where you have an ACL tear and you're going for surgery, you are going for reconstruction. There are a newer surgery called the Bear implant, where they are working on some repairs in some cases. This has shown some promise, and we're seeing more and more of that. So it's received some funding, especially over the last couple of years. So you may see more of these ACL repairs using that Bear implant. But the real question today is, will it heal? And as I said before, most likely not. Having said that, there are some spontaneous cases of healing reported in the literature. So it's not frequent, but we are seeing a little bit. Most recently, there was a study in 2022, December 2022, Blank et al. Showed, looking at 400 or close to 400 ACL clients, that they're in some of these cases, after 6 weeks, they were showing some spontaneous healing occurring. Now, there are some criteria on like where the tear was, what kind of tear was it? Was it in the middle of the ACL itself? Was it on the two end points? Also, the shape and structure of the leftover stump of the ACL, as well as the shape and structure of the shin bone of the individual. These all can play a factor. We don't know too much, but I do think we're going to be seeing more and more studies out there. And just to kind of give you an example of how less frequent this is, in all my years, I've been doing this for over 13 years. We've seen probably close to 1,000 ACLers. I've had 2 cases where people have spontaneously healed, where on MRI, their image was read again, ACL was there intact and back to every single sport that they were playing prior to. So I've seen it. That means it can occur, but it's more of the exception than the rule. Now, if you're in a boat where you just had your ACL, my recommendation would be, unless you're getting back to a specific sport on a timeline, meaning, let's say you're a high school athlete, college athlete, professional athlete, where there may be a season that you're trying to get back to next year, right? These are the cases where we don't really consider another option. We get the knee ready for surgery, we go in for surgery, we get ready, we try to get back for the next season. If you're an athlete, but you may not have a season specifically that you're getting back to, or let's say you're at a college, you're at a professional, or even you're an amateur athlete, you enjoy playing soccer, or you enjoy skiing, for example, but there's not a certain timeline for you. My recommendation to any of these athletes is take your time, set up some rehab, get your diagnosis, set up your rehab, do 2 months, 3 months, 4 months of good rehab. Get the swelling down, get your motion back completely. Everyday life should be very easy, should be a breeze without an ACL. And then get super strong. Take 3-4 months. See how you feel. Then at that point, make a decision whether to go for surgery or not. because there are people who can respond very, very well without an ACL. You can get back to a very active lifestyle without an ACL. So there are possibilities and opportunities out there for you. So yes, it's not a black and white answer, but if you are going for surgery anyway, taking the time off is not going to stall anything. It's actually going to prep your knee and make the outcome after surgery and smoother recovery better if the knee goes in looking great. So usually the recommendation that I make at this point, unless you're falling to that first category, high school, college, professional, looking to get back for a season that following year, I will tell everybody, don't schedule the surgery, do the rehab first, get your swelling down, get the motion back, get strong again. At that point, see where you stand, revisit your goals, what you're looking to get back to, what activities specifically, what sports, what kind of volume of activity in sports you're looking to get back to, and then work with somebody that can guide you, right? If your knee is responding well to that point, you can possibly take it a little further and see what you can get back to. Or if the knee doesn't respond as well as you think, and the rehab goes well, but you still feel a little unstable, and at that point, you can schedule your surgery. As I said, if you do 2-3 months of rehab and you're feeling good, looking good, you can schedule your surgery. Your knee will look great, and the after surgery will be that much better and smoother. So that's really the recommendation that we make here. Sorry to disappoint you about the ACL healing. Unfortunately, we just don't have enough evidence to show that this is a good decision or a route, and we don't really think at this point we can say for certainty that we can provide that, putting a person in a position or, immobilizing their knee, will it help the ACL heal? And we just don't feel that strong about it right now. There are spontaneous cases occurring, and do believe there's going to be more and more research over the next 5-10 years about this. But really, gold standard right now is you get injured, you get confirmed diagnosis. If you are in that specific sport category looking to get back, you're probably going to have surgery within 6 weeks, 8 weeks. If not, the other option is, which we recommend here, if you're not getting back to a specific sport within a certain time frame, is you schedule your rehab first, maybe do 2 to 3 months of rehab, then make a decision whether surgery or not, and see how your knee responds. Then, as another option, as I touched on in the beginning of the video, is what we call the Bear procedure, which is an ACL repair, which again, we're seeing more and more of. It's receiving a lot of funding as of late as well, especially being backed by the NFL. And we may see more of these ACL repairs where they're keeping the your ACL, putting in an implant there to help it reattach, regrow, and provide some stability as there. So it's being more and more studied. So we're going to see more of those publications coming out, more of these athletes going through the repair itself. And we'll see as they get back to their sports, what's the not only the return to play rate, but what are the re-injury rates there as well. So there are some cool things happening in the ACL literature as well as the care. And again, we're going to see more and more of it as technology comes out, especially with the studies and the research being done. But that's the current state of ACL. Unfortunately, the blood supply is not great. Won't necessarily heal on its own. Would not depend on spontaneous healing. So we are most likely either going to have the conservative route. The reconstructions we're going to see a lot of, with the Bear procedure repairs maybe slowly being more and more prevalent out there. So I hope that makes sense, guys. If you have questions, drop them below. If you found some value here, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Of course, as I say, always share with a fellow ACLer that can benefit from these videos and tips. We put out a new video every single Monday. See you next time. This is Dr. Kaan signing off.